She called the cops on my mannequin and ended up getting arrested in front of the whole neighborhood. What would you do if your neighbor called the cops, claiming you were hiding a corpse in your car? That's exactly what happened to me last summer, in our quiet little cul-de-sac where the biggest drama was usually whose lawn wasn't mowed to HOA standards. But Karen, our self-appointed neighborhood watchdog, took it to a whole new level. Her accusation wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was a calculated strike, and it backfired in a way that left our entire town buzzing. It all started with a petty feud. I'd just moved into the neighborhood, a young graphic designer trying to make a fresh start. My black sedan parked in my driveway was my pride and joy, but it caught Karen's eye for all the wrong reasons. She'd leave notes on my windshield about improper parking angles or unsightly oil spots that didn't exist. I ignored her at first, thinking she'd tire herself out. Big mistake. Karen wasn't the type to let things go. She was the HOA president, armed with a clipboard and an ego the size of our subdivision. One day, I caught her measuring the distance between my car and the curb with a ruler, muttering about fines. I laughed it off, but that was the spark that lit her fuse. The real trouble began when I started working on a side project, a mannequin display for a local boutique. I'd left the mannequin wrapped in a tarp in my trunk while I ran errands. Apparently, Karen had been spying from her window and saw the suspicious shape. Instead of knocking on my door like a normal person, she called 911, screaming about a dead body in my car. By the time I got home, 2 police cruisers were in my driveway, lights flashing, and a crowd of neighbors was forming. My heart sank as an officer approached, hand on his holster, asking me to step out of the car. Karen stood on her porch, arms crossed, smirking like she'd just won the lottery. The officers asked me to open the trunk, and I complied, my hands shaking. The crowd gasped as the tarp fell away, revealing a plastic mannequin, its head tilted at an awkward angle. The officer's stern face broke into a chuckle, but Karen wasn't laughing. She stormed over, red-faced, insisting I was hiding something sinister. That's when I noticed my car. Fresh scratches on the hood, the garden hose tangled around the bumper, and water pooling in my driveway. Karen, in her frenzy to investigate before the cops arrived, had taken a crowbar to my car and cut my hose, claiming she was securing evidence. The officers weren't amused. Vandalism wasn't part of her HOA rulebook. Just when I thought the drama was over, a twist came out of nowhere. Mrs. Jenkins, the quiet widow next door, stepped forward, her voice trembling. Firm she'd been watching from her kitchen and saw Karen sneak into my yard that morning, crowbar in hand. Mrs. Jenkins had even recorded it on her phone, a grainy video of Karen prying at my trunk and slashing the hose. The crowd went silent as she played it for the officers. Karen's smirk vanished, replaced by a look of pure panic. She stammered, claiming she was protecting the neighborhood, but the evidence was undeniable. The officers cuffed her for property damage and filing a false report, and the neighbors' whispers turned into a roar of disbelief. Karen's reign of terror crumbled that day. The HOA board, humiliated by spectacle, held an emergency meeting and stripped her of her presidency. Word spread fast. Our town's local ex-posts lit up with memes about Karen's corpse caper. My car needed repairs, but the boutique loved the publicity, and I landed a bigger contract thanks to the buzz. Karen, meanwhile, faced community service and a hefty fine. She tried to sell her house and move, but no one in town would touch her listing. Every time she stepped outside, neighbors stared and kids giggled, whispering about the dead body lady. Looking back, I almost feel sorry for Karen. Almost. She thought she could control everyone, but her obsession with control led her to both literal and figurative crackdowns. Power dug her own grave. I fixed my car, replanted my lawn, and even made peace with most of the neighbors.
Mrs. Jenkins became my new best friend. We share coffee and laugh about that wild day. It's funny how one lie, born from spite, can unravel someone's whole world. I learned to stand up to bullies like Karen, and I hope you would too if you've got a story about a nosy neighbor or a time you faced down a false accusation. Share it. What's right and wrong in a mess like this? Your thoughts might just spark the next big conversation in our town. Karen wanted me behind bars, but her own obsession got her cuffed. So tell me, when power turns into paranoia, who's really the danger?